Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jake and today TJ is joining me for Desire to Fire. Now this is the second episode in this series, so if you haven't seen the first one, make sure you go back and check that out. But today what we are talking about is debt. So one of the things that TJ is struggling with kind of in his day-to-day life is his debt. So we want to make sure that we kind of set up a process to help him squash that and help him get back onto the path of getting out of debt and increasing his credit score and all that fun stuff. Now, we were also supposed to record a video in December, and obviously now it is January of 2021. So we gotta kind of explain that because TJ got into a car accident on the 23rd. We got what, 10 inches of snow?
10 inches of snow, and just like super high winds, and you couldn't really see anything. I hit a white truck, so that
that didn't help.
That explains everything.
Yeah. So that happened. So now we also want to kind of discuss on how to deal with things that come up out of nowhere, and that you need to have an emergency fund for things that are not foreseen like that. So earlier today we kind of looked up TJ's credit score using Credit Karma. I know which isn't the most accurate, but it typically has a swing of about 10 points. So from what we found, we looked at TransUnion and Equifax. So TJ, what was your credit score?
So TransUnion, it was 526, and the Equifax, it was 524. So they were just like 2 points off from each other.
And then do you know what a good credit score is?
So a good credit score, I've always been told, is between 600 and 700. Found out from you today that in order to buy a house, you need a credit score of 620.
So also using Credit Karma, we tried to look up all of TJ's debt, but unfortunately it was not listed because it is more banker's debt and hospital bills. So can you kind of discuss more of your debt situation?
Yeah, so basically what we were only able to find was like we had one collection that we were able to find, which was AmeriCollect, which was a $535 debt. And then I know like I've had hospital bills from when I was like 18 years old that are like $3,000 because I had to get an MRI done and get like a cortisone shot into my arm and stitches and all that stuff. And then I have bank debt because, you know, if you lose track of cashing of like which checks you're actually supposed to have, and you know, I gave my mom money when I didn't have the money to give her. That put me into debt in the one bank, and then in the other bank, I think I actually just fell for like some fraudulent thing. I think it was like oh yeah, this is a check that you earned from some website or something like that, and I cashed it, thought it was legit, because you know, dumb 18-year-old. I was like, yeah, free money, and yeah, it just
didn't work out.
Didn't work out. So you know, $2,200 in debt for that one, and then the car I have to pay back. That's $3,000, and then I know one hospital bill from Osceola is $185. There's to their medical center, so that's easy. And then there's other hospital bills that I'm not quite sure of exactly what their actual amounts would be, but I know like one of them was for getting looked at because like I had chest pains really badly, and another one I think was just like for a cough or something.
Okay. So the debt that we know is we're gonna say about 6 grand, but it can be anywhere up to 10 grand.
Yeah.
We'll estimate with that. That is entirely doable,
which is way lower than what I originally thought.
Yeah, which is entirely doable too within our time span. But even if we don't get it all knocked out as quickly as we want, we can at least set him into a path where he understands how to pay off debt. The strategy I think we're going to go with is more of a snowball effect. We start with the higher interest rate, low amounts, and we'll just pay those off as fast as we can and kind of snowball it into paying it off quickly. That brings us to more of a money question on how much do you feel like you need to actually live a comfy life with minimum stress to yourself?
So from what we've gathered is that I make about $1,500 a week, or every 2 weeks,
Yeah.
with our job. So I'm thinking I only need about 1/3 of that every 2 weeks to live comfortably, so $500. Just because I have a good living situation where my rent's super low, because I live with family, and just I have a car even despite the accident. Like it's not that damaged, so once we get it repaired and legally drivable, like it gets great gas mileage. It's got low maintenance, and like really all I'm going to be paying for is electric and propane.
Yeah. So and then you're only
Groceries.
feeding yourself.
Yeah.
So essentially, so things are a lot lower than I would say the average person. So we'll be able to attack this debt extremely aggressively. Also going into that kind of ties into budgeting itself. Have you ever made a budget
No.
personally?
So I've had multiple good close friends try to get me to make a budget, and like they've even like actually like physically made me a budget. Problem with that is I am like I see something and I want it, then I buy it kind of person.
All right,
So-
that makes sense. I see that. I see that.
So it's just like, oh, okay. There's a new pair of headphones and they're Bluetooth, and like my AirPods that I just recently bought that I didn't need to buy because I already have like 3 sets of Bluetooth headphones, but I wanted them because they're AirPods. So $129, yeah.
So we're gonna have to set up it where it's like a hard line when it comes to things like if you want something, you have to save for it
Right.
separately from
Impulse buy.
Yeah, and within that $500, so we can make that happen. But I get what you're saying when it comes to.
And I guess sometimes
creating
like
a budget.
other times like I wouldn't say impulse buy, but I'm like, oh yeah, like if I just buy in bulk right now, like if I buy like 4 things of shampoo and 24 pairs of socks, then I won't need shampoo or socks for a long time.
But then you get yourself in the part where you overbought and you have no money. Then I totally get that. So have you ever heard of the envelope system? I know like Dave Ramsey kind of. I don't know if you ever watched anything about him, but so essentially, say your car payment was $337, right? So you would contribute, say, $340 to a separate like bank account or an envelope if you like cash, but I prefer bank accounts. And then that car payment would come out of that bank account, leaving you with that $3 in excess. So that would be able to break down into $170 chunks versus having to pay that $340 straight out of one check. So that is something we could look into too, along with all your auto pays. And that kind of rolls into the next point of how do you feel about auto pays? Do you feel like they're harder to track? Do you like them?
So
how do you feel?
I like auto pay on Apple solely for the fact that everything is mostly under subscription. So it's just like, okay, so you got your YouTube Premium, which I pay for because I don't like having advertisements. $22. Take it. Covers 5 people. It's great. And then I got Crunchyroll without ads. That's $8. And then the only other thing I have under subscriptions slash I guess things under Apple AutoPay would be for my Access Cloud data, which is like $1 a month, which is nothing. And then where I don't like AutoPay is when I forget that I don't have something under Apple subscriptions like Hulu that I don't even use anymore, and that's like, oh hey, here's a random $13 charge that came out of nowhere. And it's like, what? Like I don't have that under AutoPay, and then you like go under your actual account, you're like, oh okay, well I guess I do. Or like I don't have like an actual contract phone, I have prepaid phone, and I have AutoPay set up for that. And it'll say, yeah, like, well, your next payment is due the 31st of the month, and then it doesn't take it out until like the 3rd sometimes. So then it just kind of throws everything off. So those are like the only 2 times like I feel like it's really hard to track AutoPay. But the rest of it is super easy under the Apple subscription thing, because you're just like, oh, yep, this is what it says, and this is the next time it's trying to charge me, and it's usually pretty accurate.
Okay, that makes sense. And then we were also discussing like, say you get paid on the 12th and things come out on the 15th. 12th looks like you have a ton of money. 15th, it's a lot of it is missing. And you're like, wow. So that's just something we can keep kind of tabs on, and we can also do the envelope effect or strategy when it comes to your auto pays too. Speaking of the envelope effect, we were kind of discussing my strategy on how I do things. is so I have a main checking and a main savings account. So my checking is where I keep the money that I know my bills are coming out of. We were kind of talking about this. And I have my savings account where I deposit $50 check into and kind of just leave alone. But then on top of that, I have another savings account, which is the backup to my savings account, which is another $50. And then on top of that, I take out cash, which is $100 every single check. And then on top of that, I have my Yada, which is $25 a week. And then I have my Robinhood, which I could take out if I absolutely needed to. And then finally, I have my Acorn, which is going to charity, which I would touch only in an absolute emergency. And that's just $5 a day. So you don't need to have such high amounts going into these different places. If you just nickel and dime yourself to make it look like you don't have any money, then you'll, once you look back over a course of a year, you'll just have tons of money just that divvied up. And then that's how I created my multiple emergency funds throughout the course of, especially this year.
Which check out his Robinhood, his Acorn, his Yada, all that.
Hey, thank you. So that brings us to the final thing of this video here is the challenge to deposit some money into your Yada account and kind of just hold on to that and start building up that emergency fund. So I think we kind of came to the conclusion that we're going to aim for $100 a week. Does that work for you?
$100 a week or $100 a check?
$100 a check, sorry. $100 a check. You're correct. That way we can start building that emergency fund, and over the course of, let's say we get paid 30 times over the course of a year, you will have then $3,000 in an emergency fund, and that's massive. And Yada, of course, does the ticket, so you could have even more than that. Let's just say bare minimum you have $3,000.
Right.
And that will be able to cover things such as your car accident, and it will literally take a load off your chest, because it is just when you have something just go terribly wrong and you're like, well, here's some money. It just makes you feel like you're the man. It really does. It really, really does. Any final thoughts on anything?
No, I think we covered everything.
Awesome. All right, guys. If you like this kind of stuff, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you are not. Make sure you check the description down below. TJ's SoundCloud and his YouTube are also down there if you don't mind looking at those. But with that being said, hope you're having a wonderful day. Peace.